Good morning. So I just had to make sure that I was actually live. I had to make sure. So how are you guys doing? Um, a few changes going on right now. I just want to share these changes with you guys. So to kind of facilitate the reduction of drama, the reduction of that, I have gone ahead and changed the settings. Yeah, that needs to not be there. I've gone ahead and I changed the settings. You need to either be following my page on Facebook or subscribe to my YouTube channel to be able to comment. I'm just kind of done with the nonsensical behaviors. So I would love to be able to just keep everything focused and at a certain level of frequency. And so I found that doing this might be the best way to keep it high. To keep it high. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and get everything on the screen. All right. How are you guys doing, by the way? I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard was there's no more excuses, realizing so much. So, this is either you realizing so much about your life or someone realizing something about you. Okay. Ooh, the heat of it. It's suddenly like super warm. Super warm. Okay. Let me just get all of these cards ready. You woke up feeling like have you guys been experiencing like can't sleep at night and then waking up super early, like you slept early? Because I've totally been experiencing that for the past, I don't know, certain number of days. And it's just annoying. So, I'm trying my best um to keep my perception as clear as possible and really just giving myself the clarity that I need. Trying to stay as compliant as I possibly can with my soul and whatever it is my soul is wanting me to do. So, if you've been experiencing that, know that you aren't alone in that experience. Unfortunately, I'm joining you there. I'm there with you right now. So, all right. I'm almost done getting the cards ready, guys. Thank you for that reminder, Moonrock. So we do have all these different projects that we have going on for events, workshops, learning opportunities. The one that's coming up first is a comfort care meditation, and that's really chronic pain relief meditation. That's a exclusive event, and you do have to purchase a ticket to join. But if you're experiencing chronic pain, I mean, the cost of a basic entry is less than the cost of the prescriptions you need to manage that pain. So it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth investing your time, your energy, and a very reasonable amount of funds to get yourself the kind of pain relief that you're probably really desperate for at this point. All right. We're almost ready. Final deck. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Here's the link, you guys. My wonderful, wonderful executive assistant. Thank you, Lindsay. All right. Here goes. Let's get started. So, again, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and I heard specifically there's no more excuses, realizing so much. So, realizations are taking place. Realizations are taking place, and these realizations are the very things that are going to give you the opportunity to rise to a higher level of dimensional consciousness, of awareness of your life, your journey, career choices. This awareness is super duper important. It is super duper. My shirt is totally see through. We're not going to talk about that. Prosperity in reverse. So, a lot of what's been going on has to do with being drained of your abundance, being drained of your energy, your focus, your time, um, being drained of any type of potential that you're trying to create for yourself, any type of opportunities. This can be a person draining you. It could be a situation draining you, a relationship, excuse me, something romantic, all sorts of different reasons for you feeling drained. Now, the lack of respect is just, no. There has to be a minimum amount of respect in every single connection that you have with other people. Okay. When you start to fear losing someone, if you like basically let them know, hey, I found that a little bit disrespectful. Like, could you please refrain? That's not someone that you need to keep in your life. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what their title is. That's not someone that's necessary. We have an entire world full of billions of people who are willing to be disrespectful to you. They're a dime a dozen. Okay. They are a dime a dozen. Stop allowing your loyalty to cause you to live in an obligatory way where you feel obligated to sustain connections that are super toxic for you. So long as you continue to exist in an environment that lacks respect, you're not going to have that prosperity, because these are environments that continue to perpetuate the recordings that already exist within you, that you're not enough, that you don't deserve, that you shouldn't receive. These are difficult realizations to be honest with yourself about, because then, when you allow yourself to really see that, oh, the way people treat me it's kind of connected to how I allow them to think I'm okay being treated. Then you step into that realm of, is it my fault? No, it's not your fault, but you're also not innocent of it. You know what I mean? When you allow people to do those types of things that are not okay, you don't deserve it. It's not your fault. But if you don't say something, if you don't do something to stop them from accessing you and all of that, then you're kind of giving passive permission, which is allowing it to continue. Okay. Concealment. I just really get this sense like the energy of the reading is suddenly shifting, and I suddenly get this sense of like maybe someone's emotions towards you is becoming so, I don't know, like I guess unbearable for them, that they're starting to really struggle with hiding the gravity of their emotions towards you. Like really really just struggle um with pretending that you don't matter. It's um it's intense. It's intense. This sloughing away of all of the excuses, the shedding of the layers that were basically like calluses, right? It's something, a part of them and their emotions that's rubbed and rubbed and rubbed, and now it's developed a callus, and it's like their own life, their thoughts, their logic has totally caused them, sorry guys, has totally caused them to begin exfoliating that very callous, that thickening of perception that has made it possible for them to pretend like, you don't matter. This is some change that's occurring that's really, really going to shift the trajectory, the experiences for everyone involved. For everyone involved. Homeland Foundation. This is someone that is not just shifting and moving within themselves and their perception of their life. I can't tell if it's you or if it's someone else. This is someone who's in the process of moving. I don't know if it's literal moving or if it is like figurative, metaphoric. Someone's in the process of moving. Incubation in reverse. Sometimes the area that we live in um, becomes like an incubator. Sometimes that incubator, like you're done baking, baby boo. Your umbilical cord is all dried up. You're like, you're not newborn status anymore. It's time to begin self-regulating so that you don't need this artificial womb of a space that you live in. Oh, it's like for some of us, we recreated this artificial womb and we don't want to exit that womb. We just stay there hidden away. And I think the time for that is about done. That's the sense that I get. Like it's time to spread your wings and kind of go to a different area, go and live, experience, explore. There's no more excuses, realizing so much. This ties all into that. Um, the cycles are being halted. I guess for whoever whether it's you or someone else, whoever this is about, they've been going through these really horrendous cycles over and over and over. And it's almost this sense of like, um, they're no longer willing to participate in the cycles, right? Like, for example, um, years ago, I had people who were trying to cyberbully me. And that at that point in my life, I was still very, excuse me, introverted. And I know it sounds weird live streaming, but I'm an introvert. I know. But I'm not as extroverted in real life. And the thing is that when they were doing what they were doing, I was kind of just reacting to it, like in my real life, where most things I just ignore. Most things I'm just like, whatever, you don't like me, okay, whatever. And that's what they were counting on. My silence is what was necessary for them to be able to continue what they were doing. And I promise you, the moment I actually spoke up, not to cuss people out, but just I had myself sitting there in my RV under my chicken nugget lights, and I had just had enough. I just had enough. I had enough of this song and dance of we get to say whatever we want to Emmy about Emmy to anyone we want, and she's going to be quiet and not correct it. And so what ended up happening was, again, I did a live stream where I was under my chicken nugget light and I was just like, say what you want. Just say what you want. Like you want to argue, you want attention by using me as the platform to gain an audience, and all of these different things. And it's like, I'm right here, say what you want. uh, I wasn't necessarily mad. It was more like just heartbreaking, because I see potential in everyone. I see potential in everyone. And it was this thing of like, why waste your time on me when you could be developing your own potential? The world is waiting for you to blossom. And instead, you keep diving in the manure piles. The manure is what will grow my plant, myself, and it was just this thing of like, just stop already. Stop. You want to be acknowledged. Okay, I'll say your name in a live stream. There. That's all you're going to get from me. That's the only time I'm going to acknowledge it. And because I didn't participate in the way that these groups were expecting me to participate in, which is either be quiet and allow them to continue with no corrections, no nothing, or they wanted me to cuss them out and make threats. And I'm just really, at the core of me, I'm not that kind of person. I'm just not. I can be combative, but I'm just really not that kind of person at the core of me. And they didn't expect that reaction. I exited that cycle. And I promise you, that was the day all of them shut the F up. They just shut the F up. And instead, they began like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, Emmy knows that I have mental health problems. Okay, yeah, I know you're mentally disturbed. Um, what's that have to do with your behavior? What's that have to do with you being malignant in your behavior towards people who have never done anything to you? Outside of just becoming quiet because I saw how toxic you are. And so these cycles, they can't continue if you respond in a way that's not expected. It just can't. So I think that's what's happening at this point for some people. There are cycles that you have been done with for so long, just so long. You've been done with it, and you've gotten to a point where it's like, what am I doing? Am I really done with it? Or is this just like another something repeated over and over? And I think it's just no, you're done with it. Not for everyone, but I think for some of you, you are absolutely done with it. And the hard part is this: if you've said you're done with it multiple times only to repeat the cycle, it's going to be hard for you to believe and hard for the other people to believe you're actually done. It's okay. Time will continue. And as you continue to remain done with it, eventually everyone involved will begin to have the clarity that you actually are done. Maybe those other times you thought you were done, but you weren't yet. But you actually are done now. Ooh, ooh. Okay, baby boo over here is finally right side up. Marlene goes, does that make you happy? Of course. Why would I want drama for someone else's life? Why? Even people that are not in my life, people that are no longer my friends, people that have done malignant things to me, like I don't celebrate your demise. I don't celebrate your lack of success. I'm not that kind of person. You might be, but I'm not. So it makes me happy that for whoever this is, they're finally getting themselves right side up, turning their life around, just getting everything situated. Whoa, situated for a move. Whew. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Someone's exiting out of that incubator. Okay. You're protected. You're protected. You are protected. Don't allow yourself to believe anything outside of the reality that you are protected. Let's see. All right. Six of coins in reverse. Uh-huh. Misuse of power, scams, extortion, gullibility, and greed. So this is what you're leaving behind. Okay. You're leaving this behind. Someone misused their access to you. Someone had misused um whatever hold they had over you, like all of these different things that once upon a time you believed was evidence of how they love you. It was misused. Sometimes people can promise you love, but their definition of love is control. That's not love, that's control. All right, next card. Ooh. So there's a lot of emptying of the lint in your coin purse. Let that sink in. So many of us, instead of actually having coins in our coin purse, all we have is lint as a metaphor. And it's not about being poor, it's about being poor in spirit. You see what I'm saying? Being spiritually bankrupt, being bankrupt with your integrity. And so, six of coins, now three of coins, poor work ethic, apathy, lack of goals, and willfulness. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like all of this negativity that you've kept in your coin purse, these are definitely things that, you need to empty that out. How are you going to fill your coin purse with your actual abundance, with your personal spiritual wealth, if it's full of nothing but lint? I mean, lint is good for fires. In case you haven't seen the videos, you can absolutely collect the dryer lint, stick it in um, an empty toilet paper roll. You could cut those, like cut them into this tall, and you could stick it in the hole, and then sprinkle some oil in the lint, on the lint, and you can use that as fire kindling. You can start a campfire, cooking fire, things like that with it. If you don't know how to start a fire, that's a good way to start a fire. So, if you don't want fires in your life anymore, if you don't want these fires that continue to burn down the structures that you're trying to build for yourself, this beautiful spiritual mansion where you could be comfortable. I mean, it's just one of those things, right? It's just one of those things. One of those things where, why do you continue to let an arsonist onto your property, into your life? You have to hold yourself accountable for what you allow. So that's not good though. The coins being upside down. Ooh, and then next thing you know, the swords are coming out. The swords are coming out. The swords are coming out. So, Page of Swords, talkativeness, energy, thoughtfulness, curiosity, and truthfulness. Ooh, 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 ooh. Someone is finally like they're communicating with their soul. They're realizing their soul has been communicating with them this entire time, and they're realizing quite a bit of truth that they've been really struggling to ignore for quite some time now. There's upside down magic involved. Let's see. Ace of Wands in reverse, delays, bad news, a creative block, wasted talent. So it's almost like this feeling that someone is very talented in how meticulous they are when they are plotting against other people. That's so not good. That's some bad news right there. That is so not good, but yeah. I think someone is trying to really throw a monkey wrench in whoever's plan to liberate themselves from this very tragic type connection. This is like just this all levels of tragedy right here. Okay. Okay. The High Priestess in reverse, ignorance, shallowness, lack of trust, a closed mind, secrets. If you are leaving a situation where someone has really gone out of their way, sorry, plant. If you're leaving a situation where someone has gone out of their way to really control you and oppress you, uh, I don't think now is a good time for you to begin speaking boldly about your decision. I think now is a good time for you to quietly plot the trajectory of your life, not plot on other people. I'm talking about plotting the trajectory of your life. Really making some calculations in regards to where you want to live, how you're going to get there, what type of work you might want to do there, just things like that. Oh, my god. Okay. We're going to continue with the reading. I'm sorry. I'm feeling a whole cluster fluff of energies. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. All right. Uh, Here we go. Eight of Swords in reverse. Freedom, new perspectives, taking a stand, strength, and healing. So someone is absolutely done with the drama. Not just saying they're done with the drama, they're literally done. And it feels like this might be long term done, not short term done. Like, I am done with this, but if you cry hard enough and you beg me hard enough, I might change my mind because I don't want you to feel bad. No, I'm talking about like, here's some tissue. Can you scoot over? I'm trying to get through. That type of done. Ooh, that's ouch. Okay. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Four of Wands in reverse, self doubt, diaspora, canceled plans, gloom. Oh, it's almost a sense of like this is someone who has canceled their plans so many times because they went through all of those cycles that they're like, they're almost thinking like, gosh, I always get so close but I always get pulled back in, I'm so weak and blah blah blah. You're not weak, you're just someone who cares. You're someone who's had your ability to care be manipulated and used against you. You've had your ability to love and overcome other people's shortcomings weaponized. And once you begin to realize this, you'll begin to really more clearly see the level of toxicity and why it is so absolutely crucial for you to not just leave, but to have actual geographic distance from that person, distance from anyone who tries to come around and tell you, oh, this person is crying and blah, 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 blah. Just, give them another chance. And you know what those are called? They're called flying monkeys. Flying monkeys. Hoo, hoo, ha, ha. They're flying monkeys, okay? Um, those are the people who enable a lot of the emotional manipulation. And we just got to stop. We have to stop. We have to stop allowing ourselves. We have to stop allowing ourselves from giving other people weaponized love. That ability to weaponize your love for people. Like, that's not love. Everything in creation can be used in a positive way or a negative way. And it could be positive charge, negative charge, or positive as in good and negative as in bad, right? It can be used in whatever way. And just because you don't have the capacity within yourself to use that in a negative way does not mean other people don't. It doesn't mean that. It means try as you may, you'll never understand the why. And so stop sticking around trying to figure out why they treated you that way, why they hurt you, why they betrayed you, why all of that. It does not matter anymore why. What matters is what. What will you do from this point of realization forward? Will you finally choose yourself? And Marlene brings up a good point. If you have the capacity to love someone who's never been worthy of that depth of love, imagine how you'll blossom loving someone and being loved back by someone who has the capacity to reciprocate. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how empowered you'd become knowing that there are people who exist who are just like you, who wouldn't hurt you just like you wouldn't hurt them, who are just as sensitive as you are, who already exists at the depth you live at? That you wouldn't be asked to come to a shallow level, a level where you're uncomfortable. They live at the same depth as you. They don't have to come up for air like you. And see, that's the thing. That's one of the most difficult, most painful, most alone feeling things when you are a deep thinker, a deep liver, a deep existence. It's difficult to find other people who live at the same depth as you. And it is exhausting, exhausting to have to pretend that you need to come up for air as often as they do. It is exhausting. And it's not that you should just be around people who are just like you, it's that you deserve to feel at home with the people who are around you. You deserve that. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve that. When you can love to the degree where you can overlook all of another person's faults, where you can remember all of these wrongs they've done to you, but you don't hold it against them. Yet every little thing you do triggers that person to remind you of this entire list that they consistently remind you of how you disappointed them. I don't know, maybe because I'm a bit rebellious. If you have a list of the ways in which I disappointed you, stop disappointing yourself and cut me loose, baby boo. Cut me loose. If I'm not enough for you, go find someone who is. Why are you wasting your time with me? That's just my logic. I used to be of the mindset where I would feel badly and I would want to appease you. You're disappointed in me. I'm a people pleaser. I need to do more. I need whatever you want. I will do that. That's what I will do for you because I want to prove to you that I'm worthy of you, that I could be what you want me to be. And now I'm like, you don't want me like this? I don't care. Find someone you do want. Oh my gosh, you're not going to work to earn me? No, because you don't work to earn me. So, I mean, if you wanna walk away, it's all good. It's all good. Oh my gosh, MA. No, I'm serious. If you don't understand the value of what's sitting before you, let it go. I remember my little cousin, he was still very young, um, maybe like 10 or less than 10 years old. And it was funny because like his dad, who's oh no, he's not my little cousin. He's my nephew. Yeah, no, his dad is my cousin. So his dad, his mom, and him were they were out, I think, in like Monterey Bay. They had like some weekend trip, right? And they were walking around, and then my cousin's son, young son, saw something shiny, kind of on the sidewalk. And so he picked it up and he's like, "Oh, look what I found." It was cut in the shape of a diamond and it was rather large. And his mom was saying like, "Oh, that's fake. Just throw it away. It's fake." And he decided to keep it. And I don't know which one decided to bring that fake diamond into a jeweler to have it assessed just to make sure it was fake. It turns out it was real. And it turns out I think it was like a VS1 or something like that. I'm like, "Boo, cousin-in-law, you be acting all bougie and stuff. You couldn't tell a VS1? You couldn't tell a VS1? I'm just saying." And then when she found that out, um, it was really this thing, and it's like hers now because my cousin's son wanted to give it to his grandma, my auntie. And no, his mom was all of a sudden like, no, that's mine. And that's the thing. Just because someone doesn't understand your worth does not mean that you're worthless. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't. Only people who know the true value will know the true value, but that does not change the fact that that was a VS1 diamond. Do you know how expensive VS1 diamonds are? Those are basically like flawless. The clarity, the color, the cut, like that's a very high grade diamond. It's a very high grade diamond. And she didn't know. It had no value to her. Throw it away. I mean, are you that diamond? Are you? Are you still that diamond in the rough? Wondering why life keeps cutting you, why your life keeps being so abrasive with you. You understand, in order to be a diamond that is jewelry worthy, you have to be cut multiple times and ground down and ground down and ground down to a high shine polish. Are you guys aware of how to get something to a high shine polish? You start with a low grit, extremely abrasive. It takes off a lot of material quickly. And that's how you get the rough shape. And then you continue to sand it with a higher and higher and higher grit until eventually you get into the thousands. You start with like an 80, and then you go into the thousands. And then eventually it shines. And then you use a rubbing compound, which still has abrasive particles in it. And you buff it, and you buff it, and you buff it until the etches that are left are so tiny that it creates a refractive surface. How many diamonds stay with the person who discovered it? How many diamonds stay with the person who cut it into its shape? How many diamonds stay with the person who polished it, with a person who set it in its setting? How many? Pretty much none. Pretty much none. So maybe it's time for you to begin seeing this person who maybe takes credit for what? Discovering a diamond in the rough and cutting it through their harshness and making it into something that's extremely valuable. Are you supposed to stay with them? No. No, you're not. That person merely prepared you for the truth of where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be cherished like fine jewelry. You're no longer that diamond in the rough. You're supposed to be cherished. The best lights are used to bring out your brilliance. You don't belong in a box anymore. Whether it's a jewelry box or a jewelry drawer, you don't belong in that anymore. You belong where people can witness you and your brilliance. After everything you've been through, it was always with one goal in mind: to bring out as much of your shine as you possibly can. You can't do that in a box. You can't. You can't do that in a box. And some things, the beauty of it can't be witnessed through a picture or a video. You have to see the beauty of it in person. You have to feel it. You have to be able to witness it as it is and see how the light plays with it. And I think that's where some of you are already getting to that point, but it's scary. It's scary. It's okay to be afraid. Ooh. Well, hello, Shiva. Look at your lat development. Okay. Someone's been doing rows. Hold on. I'm Pisces. I flirt with my cards. Stop it. Hold on. Hold on. Here goes. 10 of Cups, harmony, reunion, security, domestic bliss, found family. Ooh, this is so good. Ooh. This is so good. So, okay. I think for some, you're going to have to let go of the family you know. Maybe it's biological family. Maybe it's friends who you consider family. It's time for you to have a new family. It's time for you to allow new people in and just have this village connection where everyone is looking out for everyone. There's reciprocity, there's mutualness, mutual respect and love, mutual consideration, mutually beneficial connections. No more situationships, no more transactional connections, no more booty calls, no more. I don't know what they're called now. Whatever they're called, no more of that. No more of that. um I feel like you're really going to be headed towards a beautiful space, uh but you have to be willing to let go of the old stuff. And it's not like, oh, okay, I see, Emmy. Now that they're not going to benefit off me, you're telling them to leave me. No, I'm saying you're toxic. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're toxic and they need to recognize that and make a decision for themselves. You see, the difference between me and you is that I'm encouraging someone to think for themselves, whereas you're pissed off that they're entering into a space of sovereignty. You don't like it, fight me. That escalated quickly, didn't it? Yeah. Mirrors. You see that? Mirrors. I can reflect back at you the very toxicity that you ooze everywhere you go. I could, but I won't. Not all the time. Just this moment, because that's all you deserve from me. Just this moment. Relish it, rewind it, play it back again. Relish it, rewind it, play it back again. It was at about the 42-minute mark of this video. I'll tell you again, 42-minute mark. That's around the time I began addressing you. So, Ace of Coins in reverse, bad finances, excessive spending, greed, stinginess, poor planning. I'm just saying. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. How are you? I need to message you. Okay. Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands. Here we go. Here we go. Adventure, passion, a rebel, a flirt, a hot temper. See, that's me riding my goat through the mountains with my stick. Y'all have chanclas. I have a wooden spoon to stir the caca. We don't want it to burn at the bottom. It's a steaming Oh, look at you. Look at that little lamb. Is that a lamb or am I seeing that wrong? Maybe that's a baby goat. Okay, Knight of Wands, adventure, passion, a rebel, a flirt, hot temper. So it's okay for you to be a wildflower. I mean it. Not flower like the aesthetics. You know what I mean? There are far too many people um who just fake being a wildflower. Like they try and act up just because like, ooh, you're edgy. No, really be a wildflower. Really be a wildflower and allow yourself to just embrace who you are. If you're not intentionally malignant, malicious to other people, there's no reason for you to have to be ashamed of being the wildflower that you are. All right. We're now at King of Cups. Devotion, loyalty, faithfulness, wisdom, and generosity. So for whoever this reading is for, whoever is resonating, like I feel like that's you. You're someone who has this loyalty, this faithfulness, and ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Let me just pull some cards. All right. So she feels, she knows. Whatever you feel and whatever you know, you need to have a big, bold vision in order to properly understand it. Are you not done beating yourself up? Are you just longingly gazing at this future potential of you where you could be this very regal type of royal energy, right? Are you just accepting the mediocrity you're currently living at because of the fact that someone convinced you this is all you're going to get? I promise you that is not all you're going to get. You don't have to do your life in a way that someone else dictates in order for you to have something for yourself. I remember I used to be criticized years ago for being just a stay at home mom. I had so many people in my life, not my husband, but so many people in my life who didn't understand how I could make that decision. Like I'm just being a lazy woman and using my children as an excuse to be able to stay home and do nothing. Mofo, let me tell you, I make my own flour in order to make my own fresh bread. Ain't nothing lazy about me. Okay. I make everything from scratch, including their toiletries, their soap, their moisturizer, whipped body butter. How many people you know hand make from raw ingredients their children's body butter? I don't think so. There's nothing lazy about me. And that was the thing. People in my life back then were trying to convince me that I was just being lazy. And that's why I have nothing for myself. I'm sorry. I have nothing for myself. Last I checked, my husband bought me a house with no one else's help. Last I checked, my husband bought all the cars we have with no one else's help. I have nothing for myself. I have an amazing family and life. But the people outside of that environment were trying to convince me that I needed more. They're like, what is this all? This is it? This is all you're going to have for your life? What's wrong with what I have? It makes me happy. But you could have so much more. And see, here's the thing. No, I couldn't have so much more until I stopped living my life in accordance with the people who wanted me to succeed, but only in the way they dictated and never more than what they gave me permission to succeed to. What? What? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I was the type of stay at home mom. You could come over at any time of the day. And I homeschool. My house will never be messy. Never. That thing was sanitized to the degree of NSF certified. Okay. That should tell you right there the fact that I know about NSF certification. as part of my sanitation practice. Okay, that should tell you right there my degree of meticulous cleaning. And that's the thing, it wasn't enough because it wasn't what other people deemed I should do. But here's the thing, I only had more for myself after I let all of that go. When I allowed myself to truly just be me, because guess what? Those same people who kept telling me, like, you need more, like, blah, 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 blah. They don't like what I've done for myself now. They don't. They get very uncomfortable with my level of stability at this point. Like I said, they wanted me to succeed, but not beyond what they gave me permission to reach. What? Right. Makes no sense. And these are the people you're listening to. These are the people who you are allowing to affect your life to the degree that you are modifying your sense of self, that you are restricting your self worth in order to remain neatly in the boxes that they convince you to construct for yourself. No more. There's no more excuses. And you have to begin allowing yourself to realize what's going on. Be the hunter, not the hunted, but it's in reverse. So it's this thing of consistently allowing yourself to be someone else's prey. If I'm going to allow myself to be someone else's prey, it's going to be their prayer, the answer to their problem, the solution that was constructed by God itself. Right? Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. If there's going to be anything with the word pray in there, I'm going to be your prayer, this answer from God itself. I'm not going to shrink myself down anymore. And I encourage you to be rebellious in that way, not have confrontation, but remove yourself when someone tries to serve you caca. I don't need to eat at this table. Oh, you think you're better? No, I have a table at home. I can cook for myself. I actually know how. So I don't need this. I was here to spend time with you, to share space with you. And if this is what you're going to do, when I gift you my attention and my time, my presence, it's okay. You can return that, return back my presence and I will just be on my merry way. Right? It's all good. I don't have to be offended. I don't have to be combative. I just need to recognize when you are trying to give back the gift that I've given you, which is what? My presence. I'm a whole mother effing gift. What? What? Yes. So are you. You're an entire gift. But if you choose to not see yourself as a gift, then you're going to continue to see in a very distorted manner. And that's just that. Many of us see in such a distorted manner. So, card number 9, what do you feel? But it's in reverse. Do you even feel when you're upside down in your life, in your decisions? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you see it? Can you allow yourself the clarity to sense what you've accomplished, the perfection of your life? Don't pretend that your life is good if it's not. And no, you don't have to tell anyone, but you don't have to keep it a secret either. You have to simply just live. It's when you try and keep things a secret that you begin to pile up all of this emotional baggage on top of the fire, which then serves as the fuel for an inferno. Let it burn itself out. I have no problem if I feel called to, if I feel inspired to talk about things going on in my life. I have no problem with that at all. Why? Well, because if you clear the space and don't add more fuel, Eventually, the fire burns itself out. What can people weaponize about me and my history? There's nothing you can find in my history that I would publicly deny. Does that mean I have to um, word vomit everything that's happened to me, every horrible thing that's happened to me? No, no, it doesn't. But when I feel the need to share, something has triggered a remembrance of an event that I've lived through, an experience that I've had. Yeah, why? And most people would be like, "Oh my god, I would never say that." I've been homeless, I've been transient, um, I've also been possessed. Yeah, I had a parasitic situation. It caused me to be mean as fuck. I was rotten for that period. Um, there's been plenty of occasions where I've been a disrespectful daughter, mhm, combative AF sister. Yeah, I'm not proud of it. It's a part of my history. Those are opportunities where I've taken to learn about myself and a more proper positioning within those types of situations. What do I have to be ashamed of? And the people who will convince you that you need to be ashamed of certain details of your history, they're the very people who have the most to hide. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who have the most to hide. So why do you try and impress them? Why? Like for me, I mean, I've never been a sex worker, but even if that's been a part of your history, like did you do that to survive? I'm very sorry that you were forced to do things you didn't want to do, but you've survived. You're not there anymore. You're somewhere else. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. I can understand why you wouldn't want to share, but that's not something to be ashamed of. You know, I read somewhere I read somewhere that why is her name escape me? I see her face. Maya Angelou. Um that when she was in her early 20s before she became recognized as quite possibly one of the greatest poets to have ever lived. Her body of work is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Um she was a single mother and a prostitute. She had to survive. I mean, I don't like that. I don't like that because of how it typically will rob someone of their dignity, you know, having to do things you don't really want to do. When you do something in order to survive, this includes addictions. Um, that wasn't really a choice. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm trying to help people understand, people who have never been through those situations themselves. No one ever really aspires to be a prostitute or an addict. They like who does that? People who have already been fractured and injured by their environment. Those are coping mechanisms. Those are survival skills. And those pains that you experience that led you to that point should not be held against you. No, we don't need to ignore it and pretend it didn't happen. We need to acknowledge it for what it is, this jumping off point that allowed you the opportunity to dive so deep into your truth and your purpose that you became a mermaid and stopped coming up for air. And you began to exist in such a deep, deep way that you began to be so valuable to those who couldn't ever go that deep. Everything that happens to you in your life carries with it a profound purpose. And if you cover it with shame, you're doing a disservice and you're negating the importance of what you lived through and learned. So don't do that anymore. Collaborative dreaming, but it's in reverse. So many of us work so deeply with others to continue this upside down dream. What's an upside down dream? For me, that would be more like a nightmare. It would be more like a nightmare. Did your dream go upside down? Open your eyes. Realize that you don't have to stay in that state anymore. I used to have night terrors. If you've never had night terrors before, there's just uh something horrific about experiencing night terrors. Just horrific. For me, when I would have night terrors, not only would it be a very intense bad dream, I couldn't wake up from it. I would be basically screaming and thrashing in my sleep, and my husband would wake me up, and my eyes would open, but I would still be in that state. I would still be in that state, and I couldn't wake up, and I couldn't calm down. You would have to wake me up with the lights turned on, and you would have to make sure that you hold me down in a way where I can't hurt you until it registers in my brain that you are not an illusion and that you are real and I'm finally awake. And I feel like for some of us, that's what we're living through right now. I think for some of us, we're living through this crazy space of being in the worst nightmare ever, a nightmare of an existence, and you're awake, but you can't seem to wake up. You can't seem to get yourself out of that state. You know, I stopped having night terrors like that after I began cutting people out of my life that would cause me to need to process in a subconscious manner through dreams. I had to remove quite a few people. And I was absolutely vilified for that decision to finally, for the first time in my life, choose myself. They'll never let you go willingly, not when they can benefit so much from whipping you, from blaming you. It's your fault that I had to whip you. It's your fault that I hurt my hand when I slapped your face. How dare you hurt my hand when I slapped you? The logic of some, the audacity of their logic. It doesn't stop until you make it stop. It just doesn't. It doesn't stop until you stop participating in the cycles. No more excuses. It's time for you to realize how powerful you are. They want you to think you have no other options because when you think you have no other options, you remain in the same situation. Heaven sent in reverse. Once upon a time, you thought this person was perfect for you, perfect friend, a perfect romantic partner, a perfect life partner, a perfect business partner, a a perfect lesson. I think for most of us who kind of have this um, really skewed perception that we're realizing now it was super skewed and it needs to be corrected. We're like, gosh, you know, why did I this and why did I that and blah 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 blah, and because you had the perfect lesson. It was the perfect lesson for you to learn so much about yourself. It's the perfect lesson. The perfect lesson. That's all it was. Faith in the process in reverse. I'm not against faith and hope. I'm not. I'm not opposed to having faith and to having hope, but I recognize it for what it is, the toddlerhood of your human consciousness. At some point, you have to outgrow your toddlerhood and enter into your adulthood, right? And as adults, we don't just hope and have faith that something outside of us will save us from us. No, we use what we were given. We use our knowledge, we use our body parts, our hands to make things, create things, our legs and feet to walk away from dangerous situations. It's time to enter into that space of gnosis, a knowing that you can handle the life that's been presented to you, that you were equipped, perfectly designed by God to handle your life. If you were equipped and capable of getting yourself into a situation by virtue of the omnipotence, omni-knowing of God, you have the opposing polarity of potentiality as well. If you can get yourself into a situation, you can get yourself out. Sometimes it requires you going to other people and asking for assistance, yes, but you can get yourself out. Whatever you can get yourself into, you can get yourself out of. It might take some time, it might take some effort, but it's not going to work if you don't choose you. So, what's already with you? It's in reverse. It's in reverse. So, this is something you let go of. You've let go of it. And so, you've let go of the side of it as well. And the more you spend time in this space of just not knowing what you've lost within yourself, you're going to have a harder and harder time knowing what part of you to find. And then you reach this point where you feel very lost, you feel directionless, you don't know who you are. It's the most powerful place you can be, because it's in that place you begin to question, like, who am I? What am I doing with my life? And that's when you get the real answers. That's when you get the direction that you're looking for to become who you've always been. I've always been this way. People often ask me, one of the most commonly asked questions is, Emmy, what is your awakening story? I was born. That's the story. I'm serious. There was no moment of awakening. I've always been this way. As a child, as a little girl, I've literally always been this way. I've just always been this way. I don't feel like I'm above anyone or better than anyone, more important or any of that. I've just literally always been this way. And I think a lot of people's awakening stories have to do with them going through the process to realize they were never asleep. They were simply compliant. Being compliant is not the same as being asleep. It's just not. You're a highly capable soul having a human experience, learning things that can only be experienced while in human form. Because of the density of flesh, we can experience things in a way that formless beings cannot. Every stage of your development is a gift, an opportunity to learn things you cannot learn as a soul. But people would convince you the hardships of life are punishment, that God is punishing you. God is not doing any of that. God is not interested in you hurting or being harmed. God is interested in observing what you do with the situation you're given, the way you perceive, the way you process, and the way you apply what you've perceived and processed. Shock of the new in reverse. This is not new. And you're not shocked. You're confused. You don't know why you accept the treatment you accept. You want me to tell you why? You accept the treatment you accept because you struggle to believe you deserve more than what you're being given. I know because I thought that too. Guess what? Regardless of what you think right now, you can think other things. That's the beauty of freedom of thought. And guess what? If your thoughts had the power to trap you in an existence that is not worthy of you and makes you miserable, guess what? Your thoughts also have the power to free you, empower you, and uplift you. But changing that thought oftentimes requires first changing the environment that then produces the thought, that then affects the emotions that serve as the fuel for the manifestation of that thought. It's a very simple complexity that we live in, or a very complex simplicity. Depends. Cup is half full or half empty. For me, drink it if you're dehydrated. Who cares? Drink of the knowledge, positive, negative. Well, who cares? Drink up the lessons. Drink it up. Replenish. Allow yourself to receive what you need to receive. And if it's simply a lesson, learn it. Go through it. Enjoy. Release the dark wound, let love live. Letting go of the things that have rotted and allowing it to process in the way it needs to be processed. So, fish fertilizer is amazing for growing things. Fish fertilizer. But see, you don't just take the fish and like let it rot on top of the plants. No, that's going to create a lot of like bacterial type of yuckiness that you don't need no part of, right? So what do you do? Well, you allow the fish components to be processed in the way they need to be processed, to be kept at the temperature they need to be kept at. So the malignant bacterias and fungi will die off, and the beneficial ones will be allowed to grow more. Not all poop is good poop to use, right? So here's the thing. People will be like Michael's having conversation with me. So here's the thing, right? He's talking about how some people will utilize this concept of fertilizer grows a flower, and they will utilize that in such a way where they will use it to justify the continued presence of someone who is caca to you. Yeah, well, here's the thing. They only ever use the caca of herbivores. When was the last time you saw dog fertilizer, or you saw pig fertilizer, or you saw whatever else is carnivorous fertilizer? You don't. Why? Why? They ingest decaying material that increases the potentiality of pathogens growing in that fertilizer, which can then increase the potentiality of the person who is cultivating that field, uh, developing some type of pathology. So, what am I getting at? When someone acts like a carnivore in your life, all they do is consume other people's energy, consume their dignity, consume. That fertilizer is worthless. It's not going to grow you. It's just going to make you sick. It's just going to make you sick. Stop using highly intellectualized excuses. Boo boo, I do the same thing, boo. I tell you, we must be related. I do the same thing. I can take some intellectual concept and contort it in such a way that there you go, there's my excuse. You can't negate it. And it's like, who am I really playing in the end? Myself. Myself. Not all fertilizer can grow you. Worlds within worlds, but it's in reverse. Things are going to be allowed to become externalized. Whatever you're processing within yourself is soon going to be witnessed by people outside of you. Self worth in reverse. As you go through the processing and expunging of that internal circumstance, making it an external circumstance, you're going to go through dips in your sense of self worth. It's okay. But see, your lack of stillness, be still in reverse. That's what's going to create so much distortion in the process you're going through. Shine in reverse. When you get distorted in your process and your perception of what that process is, your shine has a tendency to dull. Use your intuition to guide you through that lack of clarity. It's only a momentary lack of clarity if you use your intuition. If you allow your monkey mind to go ahead and get you all caught up in that insecurity, you're going to really struggle with that. You're going to end up going through that process a lot longer than what you actually need in order to learn what that process is teaching you. And here's the danger: the longer you remain in a process unnecessarily, is the higher the likelihood that mere process will become your identity. That's not good. That's not good. It's okay to get depressed. It's okay to be very negative and very dark and just miserable, but not long term. It's okay to experience those drops in the high vibe feels, right? It's okay. See, what they try and teach you is that you have to be high all the time. Okay, high on energy, high on drugs. Which one? It's a same dang thing. It's an addiction used as a coping mechanism to avoid the processing of what will bring you down. Logic. That's logic to me. So if you're always high, you're not processing your life. You're pretending everything's okay. Is it really okay? Or have you conditioned yourself to believe you're okay with the things that are happening? Because if you're okay with it, then it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. You're a big deal. And then you'll have people who'll be like, "Well, no, Emmy, the goal is not to be high all the time." Because you're right. Like, no, I get it. I get it. That's like, yeah, addiction. And then they'll be like, "No, it's just to be neutral. You don't have to be high, just be neutral." You mean like a flat line? Like a non-functioning heart? So you want me to be alive but not be alive? Zombie. Oh. So then what's the goal? To truly live. How do you know someone is still alive? Their heart has to beat for them to be alive. If their heart stops beating, their brain will stop functioning. If those two things happen, they're clinically dead. That's medical. They're clinically dead. If those two things happen, they are clinically dead. So then what am I trying to say? Well, allow life to be your inspiration. How does a heart beat? It has peaks and valleys and spaces of stillness in between. Model your life after that. Allow a high and then know that you're going to crash a low, but not as low as the high is high, just lower than baseline. But you're going to pop back up. It's no biggie. And then you're going to have a moment of rest to process. You're going to have another high and then another low and then another moment of rest. Do you sit there during the day and think about, like, oh my God, I'm in that moment of rest. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's not gonna, oh, my bad. There's my hearted beat again. No, you just know That's you living in a space of gnosis, knowing that your heart will continue to beat without you thinking of whether or not it's going to beat. Same thing with your life. Same thing with your life lessons, life circumstance, all of that. All of that. Your relationships will have the highs and the lows and the quiet parts in between those two types of moments. And as long as it has that rhythm to it, it is alive. It is a living relationship. It's when it's consistently low. It's when there's no highs and no lows. That's a flatline relationship. It's dead. You know what happens when you keep dead things? You introduce toxicity into your life. It rots. And as it rots, it creates the potentiality for pathogens to enter you. And then we wonder, I don't know how I got infested. I don't know where these parasites came from. What are you holding on to that's not living anymore? Is it a memory? Is it an experience, an emotion, a person, a time in your life? What is it? If you want to move forward, you have to stop putting away the emotions just because they're upside down. Those upside down emotions give you a very good understanding of how to write yourself back up. That's all. And of course, live with gratitude in your heart. Be grateful for the experiences that you have, the opportunities to learn so much about yourself. I got to get going. Dang. I'm just looking at these cards from the final deck. Yep. All right. So, receiving observed cycles. You're receiving information that you need to observe about the cycles that you're in. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in a space of an upside down self acceptance, which is what? Self rejection. Now, the next cards dispel darkness, galactic heritage, and intuition sigil, but they're all in reverse. So, a person, a place, or a thing, a noun of some kind. Is not wanting you to be rid of the shadowy aspects that create further distortion. It's not wanting you to receive the galactic assistance that you could have that's rightfully yours. It doesn't want you to be connected to your intuition. All of this in reverse. Why? Simple explanation. The dark interference is a trap. Trying to entrap you in internal cycles, because if I can trap you internally, you'll never escape externally. Horses are beautiful, powerful creatures, but once you break their spirit, you break their mind, and they will do as they're trained to do. A horse can be, you can have the lead be placed on a twig that the horse could easily rip off the tree. It won't. The mental shackles are too powerful. Those mental shackles. Be extremely weary and wary of the people who try and install mental shackles without your realization. There's no more excuses. You're empowered to realize as much as you possibly can about yourself and your life. This is not the prime opportunity for you to attack yourself. Liberate yourself first, and then you can spend the rest of your free life deconstructing, dissecting every single decision or lack thereof that you made. First, free yourself. First, liberate yourself from the situation that you have been stuck in for far too long. Okay? So, guys, there's amazing things that are going to be happening. This is the difficult work that needs to be done before we get into the celebration. I don't know if you guys have ever hosted a party, but it's redonkulous. The setup of it. So back when I used to host parties for family and stuff, it used to be like a full-on event, and the decorations, and of course, my culture, you can't have a gathering without gift bags. So I'd have to make the gift bags, and I can't just buy things for the gift bags. I have to hand make everything because that's how I am. Like I can't buy pre-cut letters. Oh no. Oh, no, no, no. We can't do that. I have to get the special paper and cut the letters myself. Okay. And do all these other like DIY crafty stuff. And that's the thing. It's like all of that work that would go into the party, and I'd be so exhausted, but it would be worth it because the experience during the celebration would be so elevated. I remember the year that we were leaving California. One of my kids, it was his birthday, and gosh, um, we didn't invite anyone over except one family. They had been my friends since high school, and they have kids, and they're the only ones we invited over. Not even our relatives. We didn't invite anyone. And I remember, like, I did the whole shebang that I always do when we have these huge family parties. And I even got a snow cone maker. I got a popcorn machine, like one of those carnival ones. And then I also got a cotton candy maker, and everything had to be like specialized, all natural ingredients with no dyes. And then, okay, you girl is just extra. And then we also had we had a huge jump house. They weren't that many kids, yo. We had a huge jump house, and then we had to buy everyone costumes that was based in the theme that my child wanted for their party. So everyone had to come in costumes. And then we had like a blow up pool that our neighbor luckily was willing to allow us to put it in their driveway so that the kids could play with water, or they could be in the jump house. And then I remember my friend was like, "Girl, you did all of this. It's like a full on carnival just for us." And I was like, "Is it too much?" And she goes, "Yes. But are you having fun?" And they're like, "This is the best effing birthday party we've ever been to." And that's what we do. That's what we do. We go through all the trouble to celebrate because you're worth celebrating. Your life is worth celebrating. So put the effort into the preparations you need to make before your celebration can begin. Enter into this time of your life, this stage of your life where a simple cake is not enough, where a simple song and dance is not enough. You need the whole thing that shows you all the work and preparation that was put into it because you're worth it. You need to start feeling like you're worth it because you are. You are. Apply yourself. Show yourself how worthy you are of the type of celebration you can create for yourself. Invite everyone that's healthy for you to join you. I promise you they'll show up. And I think that's probably some of your fear. I know that was my fear for a very long time, that if I have a party and I invite people, that no one will show up, and then I'll be given the confirmation that I really don't matter. And so instead of taking that risk, let me just not celebrate anything at all. As a matter of fact, let me hide from other people that there's something to celebrate. Because if they don't even greet me, that's confirmation enough for me. Let's exit out of that. Let's completely leave that part of our toxicity alone. Let's leave that, and let's begin really giving people the opportunity to celebrate with us, to feel excitement for us and the witnessing of our growth, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing. You're growing beautifully. You can get through this. You're already in the process of getting through it. We have to allow ourselves. We have to. You can either get through this and create a celebration, or you can get through this and hide what you got through. At no point do you have the option of not getting through. Why? Because I said so. Because I said so. If you need someone to kind of push you into it, there you go. Because I said so. Don't disappoint me. There. You happy? All right, guys. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me. As usual, it's been an amazing talk. It's been beautiful. I'm loving this setup. I hope you guys are as well. The change is that for the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, you have to be subscribed or following in order to comment. Okay. We've cut out a lot of the BS. So simply subscribe. It takes about 5 minutes before YouTube will allow you to begin commenting. I go live every morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join me. That's when we have church. If y'all don't know, I'm a reverend, literally. I'm a reverend. I am. So when you come here, you're not necessarily just getting cards in your face. You're getting messages from your soul. You're getting confirmation and validation that you're seeking. Receive what's rightfully yours. Thank you for letting me be the conduit for that. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed that shift in energy for this reading. It's a beautiful shift. It really cut out a lot of the unnecessary. I think I'm going to leave it this way. So, you guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you haven't already followed me on Facebook, please do. If you haven't done both, what are you waiting for? I want to see your comments. I want to see you talking. So do both. So that way, whatever platform you're on when I go live, you can comment both. I love you guys. I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye, everyone. Oh, I'll be going live today for readings. Okay, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're needing a personal reading, if you're loving the vibe of how I read, the type of information that I give, if you're needing a scan, join me today, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be doing for personal readings, personal scans. It's not a general reading. You have a specific question you want me to answer. That's your opportunity. Outside of a private session, that's your opportunity. I'll see you guys 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, everyone.